We as members of the CACCI Council are here for this online council meeting to continue fulfilling our responsibilities not only to our members, but to the Asian business community as a whole. So I'd like to proceed with the agenda. May I call on our Director General, Mr. Ernest Ling, to give us a report on attendance at this council meeting and confirm the presence of a quorum. Mr. Ling, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we have 44 participants now, including all the representatives of our primary members. So we do have a quorum now. We can start the meeting.
I'd like to request the council to comment on and approve the tentative agenda.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
I would now to request for the council's comments and approval of the minutes of the 92nd CACCI Council meeting held virtually on November 20th, 2020, which the copies of minutes have been circulated to members earlier.
Yep. I move.
I'd like to invite Mr. Lin to present the Director General report and request for council's comment on the Director General report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The full text of the Director General report has been circulated to members earlier. What I will present you at this meeting are its highlights. Since the 92nd CACCI Council meeting held virtually in November last year, CACCI has undertaken the following activities. Number one, preparation for the 35th CACCI Conference. The CACCI Secretariat coordinates through regular video conferences with key CACCI officers on preparation for the 35th CACCI Conference, which was rescheduled to November 2, 2021, and in a virtual platform. The rescheduling followed the decision of the Singapore Business Federation not to hold its on-site in Singapore due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, which they expect will continue to restrict international travel. Second, CACCI Awards. The CACCI Secretariat solicited online nominations from CACCI primary members and coordinated with the awards committees created for the 4 CACCI Awards listed on the screen to be presented today. Number 3, CACCI study on resurrecting the world trading system. Following the decision made during the 92nd CACCI Council meeting held in October 2020, the conduct of the CACCI study on resurrecting the world trading system was commissioned to Dr. Andrew Stoker from the Australian National University. A steering committee was formed to ensure that the study is conducted in an orderly way and the agreed timelines and expectations are met. CACCI solicited donations from CACCI members to help cover the funding required to conduct the CACCI study. The steering committee requested member chambers to arrange regular webinars to which their respective trade ministers or senior trade officials will be invited to provide their positions on the future of global trade and the WTO reform necessary to achieve it. CACCI officers led by President Samir Modi on May 7, 2021, met with the executives of the Confederation of Swedish Enterprise to explore possible areas of collaboration between the two organizations, particularly on WTO reforms. A special CACCI Council meeting was held virtually on July 27, 2021 to review the final draft of the CACCI study. Preparations were made for the launching of CACCI study to be held on October 29, 2021. Next one, CACCI Business and Investment Summit. CACCI, in cooperation with the Chinese International Economic Cooperation Association, CACCI Taiwan, the Chinese National Association of Industry and Commerce, Taiwan, CNAIC, and the Importers and Exporters Association of Taipei jointly conducted the first virtual CACCI Business and Investment Summit on June 4, 2021. CACCI member chambers from Bangladesh, Taiwan, and Vietnam were requested to make presentation on the trade and investment opportunities in their respective countries. Number 5, participation in ASEAN BAC meetings. CACCI was invited to participate in various meetings of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, ASEAN BAC, of which it is an associate member as listed on the screen. Number 6, Congo activities. CACCI was involved in several initiatives of the Conference of Congos, in consultative status with the United Nations, of which CACCI is a member under the roster category. A list of these initiatives is shown on the screen. Number 7, activities with the United Nations. As a non-government organization granted consultative status under the United Nations, CACCI has been actively involved in UN-related activities as listed on the screen. Number 9, restructuring of YEGAP. The CACCI Secretariat organized Zoom meetings of leaders of the Young Entrepreneurs Group in CACCI member countries to discuss and finalize the vision, mission, core values, tagline, theme for 2021 to 2023, bylaws and activities of CACCI's Young Entrepreneur Group of Asia Pacific YEGAP. Participation in activities of CACCI member chambers. CACCI participated in several activities organized by CACCI member chambers, a list of which is shown on the screen. Participation in ICC and WCF activities. CACCI was invited to participate in the meetings and activities of the International Chamber of Commerce, ICC, and the World Chambers Federation, WCF, as shown on the screen. Joint webinars. CACCI agreed to be a partner organization of webinars conducted by knowledge partners, as listed on the screen. Various trade and investment related events. The CACCI Secretariat participated in various trade and investment related events organized by Taiwan-based organizations, a list of which is shown on the screen. CACCI publication. The Secretariat published the latest issue of CACCI Profile, the newsletters of the various CACCI product and service councils, as well as the 2020 year-end report summarizing the major activities of CACCI in 2020. Number 14, virtual meeting of the CACCI Advisory Board. The CACCI Advisory Board met virtually earlier today in preparation for the 93rd Council meeting. Number 15, virtual meeting of the CACCI Budget Commission. Members of the CACCI Budget Commission also held a virtual meeting earlier today in preparation for today's Council meeting. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the summary of the Director General's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. I now call on you to present the financial report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have distributed earlier the audited financial report for the period January 1 to December 31, 2020. Allow me to give you the highlights of the report as follows. Total receipts for 2020 reached US dollars 363,914, compared with US dollars 340,601 in 2019. The increase was due to higher contribution from CACCI and higher interest earned, which offset the slightly lower membership collection as compared with the previous year. On the other hand, total disbursements last year amounted to US dollars 287,270, down from the US dollar 330,321 recorded the year before, mainly because of reduced traveling expenses due to continuing pandemic. As a result, the total balance of receipts over disbursements for the year 2020 amounted to a surplus of US dollars 76,644, higher than the surplus of US dollars 10,281 in 2019. Consequently, fund balance as of end of December 2020 amounted to US dollars 1,481,126, up from the previous year's figure of US dollars 1,404,482. Meanwhile, the unaudited statements of receipts and disbursements for the period from January 1 to August 31, 2021 shows the following results. Total receipts for the first 8 months this year total US dollar 271,616, while total disbursements for the same period amounted to US dollars 268,863, resulting in an 8-month surplus of US US dollars 2,752. Mr. Chairman, that is the summary of the financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. Now request the council comment and approval of the financial report.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you. Can I call on Mr. Lin to present the membership report?
Yes, since the 34th CACCI conference held virtually in November 2020, CACCI has admitted one new lifetime special member in the person of Mr. Samir Modi, the current president of the Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Modi became a lifetime special member by virtue of the sponsorship of FBCCI as co-sponsor of the CACCI study on rebuilding the world trading system. On the other hand, notice of membership withdrawals were received from two primary members, namely the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Malaysia and the Singapore Business Federation. Both chambers cited organizational structuring as reason for their withdrawals. However, both also promised to consider rejoining in the future as deemed guaranteed. We would like to take this opportunity to call on our other officers and members to continue helping in our membership expansion campaign. Mr. Chairman, let's summarize the membership report.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. I'd like to get the approval of the membership report.
yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'd now like to request Mr. Lin to present the report on CACCI Awards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish to report that the CACCI Secretariat has requested member chambers to submit online nomination to the 4 CACCI Awards to be presented this year today, namely the 9th Local Chambers Awards, the 8th Asia Pacific Young Entrepreneurial Award, the 3rd Asia Pacific Women Entrepreneurial Award, and the 4th Hydropower and Clean Energy Excellence Award. For the 9th Local Chambers Award, we will receive 10 online nominations from 5 member countries under the Big Chambers category, and 4 online nominations from 3 member countries for the Small Chamber category, as shown on the screen. For the 8th Asia Pacific Young Entrepreneurial Award, 4 nominees were received from 4 member countries, the names of which are shown on the screen. For the 3rd Asia Pacific Women Entrepreneurial Award, 16 online nominations were received from 7 member countries, as shown on the screen. For the 4th Hydropower and Clean Energy Award, only 2 online nominations were submitted from 2 member countries, as shown on the screen. Because of the insufficient number of nominations received, it was decided to defer the presentation of the Clean Energy Award to next year. The online nomination for each of the other 3 awards was submitted for evaluation to the respective award committee created for each award category. The names of the members of each award committee were included in the annotated agenda circulated earlier to the CACCI Council. Those getting the highest scores under each category will be declared the award winners. At this point, I would like to announce the winners of each of the awards as follows. For the 9th Local Chamber Awards, Big Chamber category, the winner is Chittagong Chamber of Commerce and Industry from Bangladesh. For the 9th Local Chamber Awards, Small Chamber category, the winner is Yadin Chamber of Commerce from Turkey. For the 8th Asia Pacific Young Entrepreneurial Award, the winner is Ms. Nikishkin, General Director of 000 Sputnik from Russia. And for the 3rd Asia Pacific Women Entrepreneurial Award, the winner is Ms. Oyin Degger, Chief Executive Office of Mango Lab LLC from Mongolia. Congratulations to all the winners. We will send each of them a trophy and a cash prize of US $2,000. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. I'd like to request for comments from council members, if any.
Yes, Samir. May I?
Yes, President.
I'd like to thank the CACCI Secretariat for bringing forward the CACCI Awards. But this year, my feeling was that the procedure was not transparent or communicative enough with the contestants and also with the chambers, because by now we didn't know the procedure, who the judges were, and also there was no chance for the contestants to have at least an online presentation. So I think if for the next year or for the next term we're going to have these awards, we should make some modifications so that everybody who contests or participates in the awards makes sure that the procedure is just enough or comprehensive enough, I would say, to consider all, of course, advantages or capabilities of the contestants. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedram. I agree with you that your comments are very valid. And can I request you to put a small note on the suggestions so that we can look at what we can incorporate for the next conference?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Pedram. Any other comments? I'd like to congratulate the winners of the CACCI Awards. Great work, and we look forward to more participation from all of you. And like Pedram suggested, we will look at modification of a little bit more transparency and accountability for the next awards, and look forward for your participation. Can I call on the chairman of the advisory board, Mr. Ken Court, to present his report?
Yeah, thanks, President. The advisory board, well, let's talk about the chamber generally. Yeah, obviously it's difficult with COVID-19, and Pedram, I get the message from what you've said that we've got to try and communicate better. I just really look forward, hopefully, to 2022, where we can travel and have a conference where we all meet and have these discussions. So it's never quite the same, but the best we can do doing it online the way we are. And we note the comments about the awards. Thank you. The main function of the year, of course, has been the advancement of the study on the world trade system. And I certainly thank all those that have participated in the working committee and those that have been on the immediate drafting group, which is Brian Clark and, of course, Andy Stokel, Peter McMullen, and Samir and I have just been hanging in there. I feel some relief that we have finished the document, and hopefully all members are getting or have got hard copies of it. And that's the full study by Stokel. That's the Chamber of Commerce document, the policy statement. It's pretty powerful stuff. We've had to compromise a bit. We're trying to keep it simple. On the other hand, the full study has really covered the wide, broad range of issues, which gives it academic bureaucratic credibility. But as business people, we just try and keep life simple and do deals. So, but it's really just the beginning. We've had the first webinar with the Australian Trade Minister only an hour ago, and we would like to see the individual chambers having their individual webinars with trade ministers. We've got 25 members, and the Australian Minister, Tian, made it very clear that the more chambers can get their trade ministers involved, the bigger say we're going to have in the restructuring of the WTO and getting rid of some of the mission creep and issues that have developed in WTO, making it very much ineffective. So, look, that's the report on that study. For those listening, it has been a major initiative. 30 years ago when we did the Western trading blocks, when it was almost impossible to get vehicles, refrigerators into Europe. We had a big part to play in that debate. Good support from Margaret Thatcher and those that believed in what we were doing. So anyhow, that's please to all chambers, get copies of this report. And it's one thing to do it online, but there's nothing like a hard copy being presented to the minister for him to read. So that's going to be the big project for the year. I can see ahead that Samir and Peter McMullen will probably be travelling to Geneva and Paris, the two spots where the WTO, the International Chamber of Commerce and OECD are based. And on behalf of the Chamber, I thank all the sponsors that have come in addition to the money that CACCI put into the study, because we'll need those resources to be mobile as the world opens and move around. If I could move on to the office bearers for the year ahead. Once again, the fact we don't meet, we have to find a mechanism to handle this. And we are mid-term. With the last council meeting, we did renew office bearers for a 2-year period. That means Samir Modi will carry on as president. And I don't know whether CACCI can put up a list of the nominees for vice presidents. But you can see on the right-hand side, we are now looking at Mr. Ashimi, Henry Cowell, Ernest Yen, Peter McMullen, Pedram, and I think Mr. Fahim, you might help me from the Secretariat. We will bring them on as vice presidents for this coming year. You can also see the list of the honorary treasurer and the budget commission going forward. It's basically, a similar group to what we've had going forward. So I would just leave that up on the screen, and the Secretariat might give us a summary of that discussion. Next year we'll have a full-on meeting, I hope, and discussion. I realise that other people, other chambers wish to participate as office bearers, and the term for the presidency is a 2-year term, but in recent years we have extended that to a 4-year term, and that's a decision that the conference will make at the end of 2022. The projects funded by CACCI Foundation, 2 of them, one in Ceylon in Sri Lanka and another one in India, have moved ahead very well. The third one, which was an unusual request from Papua New Guinea on funding a private club in the island, has gone nowhere, and we find that quite convenient. If Papua New Guinea is listening in, we welcome you as a member. And if you've got any other projects to put forward to the foundation, we're only too happy to have a look at them. The venue for the CACCI conference next year, Peter McMullen has advised me that the Melbourne, Australia, has agreed to host the conference, and Samir has mentioned that India may also be interested. So it was left for those 2 people, Samir and Peter McMullen, the active vice president, discuss that and advise CACCI of what their decision is as to what venue. I really look forward to the possibility that we can all get together. I think Australia is opening up already and will be well and truly open for visitors in 2022. Samir said, well, he's not sure on the Indian side, but time will tell. So, look, if the President and Vice President McMullen can work together and advise CACCI in the near future, we can start planning for 2022. Under other matters, I raised the issue that I've been involved with CACCI now for over 40 years. When it first started, first meeting I had was in Perth, Australia, and have really enjoyed the interaction. It's been good from a business point of view from the Australian end, I think, the Australian Chamber of Commerce. And time is moving on. And we had a discussion at the advisory board meeting that Ambassador Uiko will take over from me as chairman of the advisory board at the conference next year. You can't retire from the advisory board, you're there till you die, but it needs someone, under the Constitution, past presidents are automatically members. But it does need leadership. And our good friend Dickie ranks next in seniority and has had enormous input into CACCI, not just as president, but ongoing in the advisory board. So that's just giving you forewarning notice of what will happen at the next council meeting next year. So I just conclude by saying, of course, the advisory board is exactly that. A bunch of old guys who get together and look at the history and try and formulate the future and projects, but it's up to the council to make decisions in relation to the office bearers and all the other things that I've been discussing. I thank you for listening to our advice. That's it.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Ken. I'd like now to request the council for the approval for the interim board members, council members for this year to be extended till 2022.
President Samir, this
Yes.
is, may I make a comment, please?
Yes, Dr. Yuko.
Yes. Ken, thank you very much for your trust and confidence. I'll certainly do my best to carry on the wonderful work that you have done for CACCI, and I want to express our deepest gratitude to you for devoting your time for this organization for the past 30 or so years. So I will try to carry the baton as best as I can and move CACCI forward even when we enter a new world where everything is going to be reset, not only World Trade Organization, but many other factors. But before I go, I want to make a suggestion, Ken, that can be relayed to the other presidents of our members. The WTO study is a very worthwhile study. So what they can possibly do is to write to the Minister of Trade or Minister of Commerce or Secretary of Trade or Commerce in their own country and enclose a copy of this study. This will accomplish two things. First, it will bring a CACCI actually in the limelight in that particular country, and it will also help guide the minister in terms of what the position of CACCI is. We want to make sure that this paper that has been done reaches the eyes and ears, if not directly, of the decision makers of government, at least their assistance to be summarized and given to the proper parties, the secretaries or ministers. So that is what I'm going to do for the Philippines. I'm going to get this study, write a letter to our Minister Ramon Lopez and tell him that this has been funded by CACCI, and this is the position that he may want to take up or read when he meets with the other ministers in the ASEAN or with other countries. The other comment that I'd like to make is this. I missed the slide that spoke about PCBC and CPBC. Can the Secretariat enlighten me on what those slides were?
This was the dialogue that they had. I think it was early this year or late last year, sir, when you had this joint meeting with your counterpart here in
Okay.
in Taiwan, where you had a dialogue on several factors.
Okay, I wanted to, I just wanted to be sure that was the subject matter. I want to share with you, again, because this relates to WTO and the trade between countries and regions, that we in the Philippines have been very concerned about trade imbalances that many countries have in their favor and against the Philippines. And I have called the attention of the TECO representative, the Taiwan representative or Taiwan ambassador to the Philippines. I said, you cannot continue, Mr. Ambassador, to ship billions of dollars to our country and at the same time not allow the export of our agricultural products to your country. I just want to let you know that this is a major issue going forward, that there is a discussion going on, but certainly the direction has been not on the friendly side, but there's a lot of disappointment between Philippines and Taiwan. I did mention this only in the light of our WTO and the CACCI advocacies, no? Because it is not only a case that will happen between Philippines and Taiwan. This is also happening between Philippines and Indonesia. Unfortunately, as president of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I have to spearhead the effort to balance the trade between Indonesia and the Philippines as well, because Indonesia ships hundreds of millions of Copico products to the Philippines. But again, we have difficulty sending our agricultural products to Indonesia. So I do mention this. I want to stop here. I think that part of what CACCI needs to do is to look at these possible conflicts and see how CACCI can go to the middle and try to resolve these particular problems between our member countries. And it's something that I will volunteer to share more detailed information with the Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Yuko, for your comments and suggestions. We look forward to working with you and the Secretariat for how we can take your suggestion forward.
Can I respond, please?
Yes, please.
Firstly, Dickie, thank you for those kind words, but you haven't got rid of me yet. Another 12 months. I'm sorry for putting up with me, but I really enjoy working with you and have done over the years. It's been my pleasure to do what we've done. On the trade issue you got, I totally understand this conflict that's happening around the world. Obviously, the concept of GATT and then WTO was to get a multilateral arrangement, opening up free trade. It's an objective that seems almost impossible to achieve, but we have at the conference today said, well, look, maybe if they don't make progress with the MC12 that's coming up, there has to be a rethink, and that should now. Maybe it should be hosted in Asia. We're the economic engine growth in the world, and it's been terribly Eurocentric to date. And I think the Australian Trade Minister would be only too pleased to host something. So it may be a start again. In the meantime, of course, the issues you've mentioned have to be addressed by every country. And don't tell me Australia hasn't got a heap of them with the trading relationship we have with China. So totally understand your comments, and hopefully, you know, by moving towards a stronger multilateral organisation, countries won't be able to just draw a line in the sand and say no more imports, no more exports. So, yeah, back to you, Mr. President, and thanks again, Dickie, for the comments.
Thank you, Ken, for your comments and suggestions. I think it's going to be a great loss for us and CACCI without you being there. But I think that CACCI is not going to leave you, since you said once you're in CACCI, you're in CACCI for life. And I want to say our appreciation from being president and from CACCI for Ken, that you have really spearheaded the CACCI way forward, and in the past and the future. So like you said, we haven't got rid of you for next 12 months. We haven't got rid of you for next 20 years.
Yes.
So hold on to your seat. We're not letting go.
That's right.
So Samir, you haven't got rid of me for now. I really should have come back on Ambassador Ueko's point on the importance of every chamber contacting their trade minister. Now, it's up to you, Mr. President, and Peter McMullen, who's driven this process, and maybe Brian Clark and the Secretariat, to get that dialogue going, physically hand over copies and talk to them and try and get trade ministers on the webinar. I mean, we are the Chamber of Commerce, we are business, we're not bureaucrats or intellectuals. We just get on with life and do things. And I think it's time for the Chamber of Commerce movement in Asia to stand up. And the only representative you've got in this forum is through your trade minister. So I just totally support the comments that the ambassadors made, that we've got to drive this home. This is a real weapon we've got on behalf of the 150 million businesses we represent through the 25 chambers. So let's go for it. And in your hands, President, to coordinate that.
I will do that, Ken, and thank you for the suggestion. I think that it is extremely important to us to get in touch physically as much as possible with the various chambers, and that was the plan. As travel opens up, I think that between Peter and me, we plan to do cover as many locations as we can. So, because this is, I think, the most important work that CACCI has done in recent years. I would like to ask, is there any other comments from the council?
I have also a comment, Samir.
Yes, President.
I enjoyed the discussion and also the points of Ambassador Ueko and also the answers of Ken. I think for the CACCI and for us to be, of course, to play a more fruitful role in sending our messages to the governments, we all should have a vision to develop CACCI across Asia Pacific and to make it a single umbrella over all of the chambers of commerce of the Asia Pacific countries. So I think one very important mission of the CACCI Secretariat and the officers of the CACCI should be to lobby with the chambers of the other nations which are not a member of CACCI to bring them under this umbrella. And for me, hearing that we don't have Singapore Business Federation and the Malaysian Chamber of Commerce as our members, it was a pity. And I think we should also, and Samir, I would like to request you to personally talk to them and to see how we can have them back, and also to set some goals for the next year to increase the number of the primary members of the CACCI. And that gives us the strength when we talk to the officials, to the ministers, to say that CACCI is an organization, is a transnational chamber which has so many chambers of commerce, national chambers of commerce as its members. And when we talk about business, when we talk about free trade, that could be the voice of many more countries. The experience which we had this year on that project, which was led by Dr. Stockel, and I had the privilege to be one of the members of the steering committee, was, in my opinion, a unique experience. To work together, to challenge each other, and to come up with a report which is communicatable to ministers, and on which you can arrange ministerial sessions like the today one and the previous one with India or the other countries, and then to send them a message which is a consensus of the private sector across the country. So these are the points which I think we should be thinking on them more seriously and include them in our mission for the coming year and also the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedram. As usual, your comments are very to the point, and appreciate your immense, your detailed suggestions. And I think this is something that we need to do. I also, one of our goals is coming forward this year is a greater involvement of all the vice presidents of CACCI to really take a step up and support CACCI in physically putting in more work and responsibility so that we can put CACCI back on the map again. And I think the report that CACCI has done is a great medium to do that to the various local chambers. I agree with you, and I will contact Singapore and Indonesia to see whether we can get them back on the CACCI membership.
Samir.
Yes, Peter.
Look, I agree with Pedram. I think and I agree with you that we need to, on our trips that Ken talked about earlier in Geneva, Paris, wherever, in promoting the study, we need to bring along other members. And some of those that are not yet, who have left the fold, or potentially join us in the future. And I think it's a really good suggestion, and we should do it. So I'm happy to help in whatever way we can to achieve that.
I totally second that. That this is needed to do, because I don't know when face-to-face travel will open, and I think that we need more and more members to actively participate in getting the report across to the trade ministers, so that we are able to get a greater impact. Is there any other comments? Do I take the council endorsement of the advisory council's recommendation?
Yep.
Thank you. Request Ms. Lynn to brief the CACCI Council on the latest program for the 35th conference.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Shown on the screen is the latest program of the 35th CACCI Conference, which is scheduled to take place on November 2, 2021, from 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Taipei time, focusing on the theme Sustainable and Resilient Growth through a Robust World Trade, and to be moderated by CACCI Vice President Mr. Peter McMillan. The conference starts with the welcome remarks by CACCI President Mr. Samir Modi. Thereafter, Dr. Chen Jianren, former Vice President of the Republic of China, Taiwan, and currently academician of Academia Sinica, Taiwan, and academician of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, Vatican, will make a presentation on lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Chen will be followed by Ms. Priyanka Kishore, Head of India and Southeast Asia Macro Services at Oxford Economics, who will share her views on achieving growth amidst disruptions in a changing global environment. Dr. Oriol Cordivieri, FinTech advisor and management and strategic consultant, will thereafter speak on Digital Currencies Revolutionizing Business and Global Trading System. A 15-minute Q&A session will then be conducted. There will be followed by a presentation of Dr. Andy Stoker on the results of the CACCI study on rebuilding the world trading system. Dr. Stoker's presentation will be followed by a session with WTO Deputy Director General, Ms. Angela Ella, who will speak on making the WTO more adaptable to the economic and trade realities of today. A 15-minute Q&A session will then take place. The moderator, Mr. McMillan, will close the conference with a wrap-up and some concluding remarks. That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. I'd like to request the council members if they are okay with the program or they have any other comments.
Yes, President Samir, this is
Yes.
Ambassador Yuiko again. If you are not yet tired of hearing from me, I have another suggestion.
You're never tired of hearing from you, Ambassador Yuko.
Okay, I want to let you know that next year, the chair of the ASEAN will be Cambodia, and that the Cambodian Chamber of Commerce and Industry has been very, very active, reaching out to the ASEAN Chambers of Commerce and Industry to help them actually promote not only Cambodia, but also to make the chairmanship of Cambodia successful. I think this is an opportunity for CACCI actually to reach out to the CCI of Cambodia and say, look, we understand that you are going to be the chair, that Cambodia is going to be the chairman of ASEAN next year, and we are CACCI. Introduce CACCI, and you say, okay, whatever CACCI can do, we will help you. The new head of the Cambodian Chamber of Commerce is very well connected and very, very active. He has been in touch with me, but I think CACCI can benefit a lot. If you want, I can make the introductions, but I feel that as president of CACCI, you should be the one to reach out to him. I'm happy to make the introduction. It will help CACCI as well.
Thank you, Ambassador Yuko. Would love for you to introduce me so that I can reach out to him. We need more and more people and associations to support CACCI. So would appreciate if you can make the introduction.
Okay. There's also, by the way, a group of nations called the Pacific Alliance. Okay. Again, this is a group of countries that I think it's worthwhile to introduce CACCI to, because they might be interested and subsequently result in joining CACCI. They have been very, very active in the Asia Pacific. Again, my experience as president of PCCI, they're here all the time trying to convince PCCI to do this and to do that. I think if I suggest, hey, you have a broader audience with CACCI, they might want to engage with CACCI directly. Thank you, Samir.
Thank you, Ambassador Yuko. Introduce us to both the organizations so that we can start a dialogue.
Okay.
Look, I'd just like to endorse the comments that Dickie's made. I've visited the Cambodian Chamber of Commerce, and it's quite a sizable, influential organisation. My wife and I finance a school in Cambodia for 100 kids, and they've been helpful in that regard. So, yeah, look, be wonderful if we could get a more active dialogue with them. Thanks for what you're doing on that, Dickie.
Thank you, Ken. Pedram.
Yes, thanks for the very useful comment of Ambassador Yuiko. I'd like also to suggest that we have the presidents of ASEAN CCI and also Indian Ocean Ring Chamber of Commerce as our guests of honor in our assemblies, or even give them in the future sessions, assemblies, or conferences that we have, give them a chance to talk, to have a speech for us, and then to clarify their positions and their activities. And I think creating a synergy between CACCI and the other transnational chambers of commerce in the region may bring us sooner to that vision, which I named as to make a unique and a united umbrella over the private sectors of the continent.
I appreciate the comment, Pedram. I think that will help. And I think I, along with the Secretariat, will reach out to all the presidents of the chambers across the Asia Pacific Rim so that we can invite them to be definitely a part of our 35th conference, as well as see how they can participate in all our events. And if we can do that to as a member or as honorary members to the council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or suggestions from anybody else? Can I take the minutes of the council and the suggestions agenda for the 35th CACCI conference as approved?
Yep.
Thank you. Distinguished members of the CACCI Council, first of all, I'd like to once again thank all of you for agreeing to extend my term as president of the organization as well as the term of the other incumbent officers until next year, when hopefully the COVID situation would have improved to allow us to meet face to face. I'm indeed honored with the continuous trust you have bestowed upon me, especially during the extraordinary and difficult times amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic that have brought about many new challenges for respective organizations and the business community as a whole. I certainly remain committed on working closely with the Council in maintaining relevance and value of a confederation to our members and the business community of the region as a whole. As we continue to face the unprecedented challenges of today, let me also take this opportunity to thank the other incumbent officers of the Confederation, all of whom are respected business leaders in their respective countries and truly representative of the geographic diversity of our membership. Through your continued guidance, along with the cooperation of our members, I hope to further pursue the mission of CACCI of attaining greater understanding and cooperation among our members and other businessmen in the region, and do my part in contributing to further growth of our confederation. I also feel that with the report and the suggestions made by Ambassador Yuko Pedram and Ken, that we will be able to take CACCI to the next level. With that, I'd like to now go to the next item in our agenda this afternoon, a special statement from Mr. Hiroshi Oshima, Special Advisor to the Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Oshima, please share your comments.
I am Hiroshi Oshima, Special Advisor to the Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And I have been asked to serve as Vice President of CACCI. Due to the efforts of COVID-19, today's board meeting is held online, but I'm still very happy to be able to see you, President Samir Modi, and all the members of CACCI. I am the President and the Representative Director of Senbikia Fruits Company Limited. Senbikia is a retail store that mainly sells quality fruits selected from around the world. The company has established in 1834, and its founder was a samurai. I'm the 6th generation. Today, I'd like to talk about the situation of the Japanese economy during the COVID-19 crisis. JCCI's policy proposal activities in light of this impact, as well as Japan's effort to promote exports of its agriculture, forestry, and fishery products. First of all, with regard to the Japanese economy, the annualized GDP for the April to June period of this year, increasing slightly 1.9% year-on-year, turning positive from negative in the previous period, partly reflecting destruction on activities caused by the declaration of the state of energy on 4 occasions. The recovery is characterized by the K-shaped recovery, on which industries are yet to see positive trends toward recovery, and the degree of recovery differs greatly from industry to industry. In light of this situation, in September this year, JCCI completed urgent requests concerning the recovery of socioeconomic activities with the progress of vacation. For the Japanese government, the 2 pillars of the plan are countermeasure against COVID-19, such as support for business in immediate need and support for the transformation of small and medium-sized enterprises and committees after the COVID crisis. Since we cannot hope for zero COVID cases, it will be important to break away from the single-minded focus on survival strategies and simultaneously take steps toward self-reformation in order to solve the problems evolved by COVID-19 and achieve economic growth. On the other hand, export of Japanese agriculture, forestry, fishery, and food products have been growing steadily even during the COVID crisis due to the increase in demand generated from the stay-at-home trend and other factors. In Japan, the population is decreasing and aging ahead of the rest of the world, and decline in the food-related market in particularly is inevitable, which necessitates the companies to promote export in order to capture overseas demand. 10 years have passed since the Great East Japan earthquake. My company has been selling groceries and other products made from high-grade Japanese fruit in Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and other countries. Still, there are various issues such as President depreciation damage and overseas import restrictions to date. JCCI and the Japanese government have continued to lobby from the elimination of overseas import restrictions. As a result, import restrictions have been recently lifted in the US and substantially relax the EU. However, import restrictions still remain in place, mainly in East Asian countries. Japan exports only agriculture, forestry, and fishery products that have been confirmed to be safe and secure. Therefore, I sincerely hope that high quality and delicious Japanese food products will be delivered to people around the world as soon as possible. Due to the nature of my work, I have focused on the trade of agriculture, forestry, fishery, and food products. However, I strongly hope that the relationship between Japan and countries of Asia and the Pacific will deepen not only in trade, but also in various other fields. Last but not least, I'd like to express my respect to President Samir Modi for his relationship in organizing this year's boarding meeting despite the adverse circumstances of the COVID-19 crisis. I hope the next year's board meeting will be held in person as in past. Despite the various difficulties, and that I will be able to meet directly with you. I hope to see you all these. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oshima, for updating the Council on the situation of Japanese economy during this ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. JCCI's policy responses and activities to address the impact of the health crisis and Japan's efforts to promote exports of the agricultural, forestry, and fishery products. Thank you once again. I look forward to seeing you in person, hopefully soon, and we do value the contribution of JCCI with CACCI. So thank you for your support. At this point, may I invite Mr. Jashim Uddin, President of FBCCI, to give brief remarks. Mr. Uddin.
Thank you very much. Mr. Samir Modi, President, Confederation of Asia Pacific Chamber of Commerce and Industry, esteemed speakers, guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very, very good afternoon. It is my pleasure to join the 93 and 94 CACCI Council meetings. FBCCI is a proud member of CACCI, and values, goals and objectives for CACCI reflect the vision of activities of FBCCI. For a long time, FBCCI has been protectively participating in the important CACCI conference and has undertaken a regular series of activities promote networking among the business community, Bangladesh and CACCI nations. I am honored to be a CACCI lifetime special member on account of FBCCI, gold sponsorship of CACCI, study resourcing of world trading system. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh has been a positive growth trajectory of transformation of its economy. It is great pride for us to, under the visionary and dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, we are in the process of graduating from LDC and moving towards achieving SDG 2030 and becoming a developed nation 2041. To complement the growth trajectory, Bangladesh consider CACCI members to be an important strategic partner with positive and trends, greater business engagement and cooperation, multiple sectors. Our major CACCI trade partners include Australia, India, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, and Thailand, with total is 22.47 billion. Trade comprising export is 4.8 billion. Imports is 17.66 billion. CACCI investment parameters include Singapore, Korea, Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, Malaysia. Among the total FDI stock is December 2020 worth of 7.69 billion. The potential synergy for our trade and investment is yet to realize, and in particular with our non-traditional CACCI partners. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has slowed down the trade and investment around the world. In this critical time, strategic cooperation among the CACCI members on the basis of mutual interest can be contribute eagerly to move towards economic recovery and achieve the growth of targets. Therefore, in addition to diversifying business with the existing trade partners, we hope they explore with the private sector of the CACCI nations to engage considering the competitive advantage, strengths, and investment, trade, technology, and knowledge while adding value and environment. In closing, we look forward more incentive CACCI private sector's engagement to contribute towards human, sustainable, inclusive advantage and our nations. Our goal are to be targeted, focused, time-bound, milestone assessed, completing CACCI mandate to promote trade and investment and the role of private sector across the 25 members countries. We hope you will find this year's council meeting to be productive and meaningful. Thank you all for patient hearing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ujjan. On behalf of CACCI, I would like to take this opportunity to once again thank FBCCI for its sponsorship as gold sponsor of the CACCI study of achieving a successful world trading system, and to congratulate him for being the newest CACCI Lifetime Special Member. Thank you too for outlining possible areas of cooperation between FBCCI and CACCI, which we'll certainly take a look into for possible implementation. I'd now like to request the Council to comment on and approve the tentative agenda that was sent to you. Do I take it as approved?
Yes.
Thank you. I'd now like to invite Mr. Lin to elaborate on CACCI work program for 2023.
Mr. Modi.
2021-2023.
Mr. Modi.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Rifate has raised hand.
Rifat, how are you?
Fine, Modi, how are you? Good to see you.
We've been missing seeing you and had to do with Mustafa alone. So it's good to see you on the council meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President Modi. Dear friends, first I would like to congratulate Mr. Modi on his work as the president of the CACCI. I think CACCI has done great work during the pandemics. Yes, physically, we did not meet. However, with the devoted work of President Modi and the CACCI Secretariat, there have been several valuable events. These events have brought our members together. CACCI continued its activities well. I would like especially underline the importance of the report on World Trade Organization. We as the Turkish business tried to contribute intellectually and financially. Moreover, I would like to thank Ken for his outstanding work and congratulate Ambassador Benedicto. In my capacity as a vice president, I will do my best to further strengthen the international role of the CACCI in coming term. Thank you very much once again, and I wish success to President Modi and all vice presidents. Hope to see you all in person soon.
Thank you, Rifat, for your message. It has really been, we are missing everyone to see face to face, and we're looking forward to your contribution and support as we go ahead for putting the report out to the world out there. Thank you.
Of course, of course.
Can I now invite Mr. Lin to elaborate on CACCI's work program for 2021-23?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Copies of the draft framework for the CACCI work program for 2021 to 2023 were circulated earlier to members. So let me just go through some of its highlights. This framework incorporates the suggestion received from members through a survey conducted earlier. Essentially, the 2021-2023 work program outlines activities to be undertaken by CACCI in the next 2 years to achieve the following objectives. To help promote and raise the profile and importance of CACCI, not only among its members, but regionally and internationally as well. B, to further strengthen CACCI's policy advocacy efforts in order to create a business environment conducive to creating better business opportunities for CACCI members. C, to play a more active role in regional cooperation efforts by capitalizing on its link with the national chambers. D, to further strengthen relationships with other international organizations. E, to further strengthen communication links among CACCI member countries, thereby contributing to the promotion of CACCI, its services, and its policy advocacy work. F, to conduct training and capacity building activities to help broaden the knowledge and technical skills of businessmen in the region. G, to develop programs that will make the product and services councils effective vehicles for promoting greater business interaction among CACCI members. H, to continue to find ways and means of expanding membership in the confederation. I, to make CACCI presidential business an effective means for gathering first-hand information on the business situation in member countries. J, to continue to make CACCI council meetings and conferences effective fora for exchanging information on issues of concerns to members, as well as for exploring business opportunities. Mr. Chairman, those are the areas of activities under the proposed CACCI work program for 2021-2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. And now I'd like to request if there are any comments or input from the CACCI Council. Having no comments, I'd like to now declare the proposed.
Yes, Mr. Sotani.
Sorry, Pedram, I couldn't see you. My apologies. Yes, Pedram.
Okay, I think because of the COVID-19, the CACCI councils were not active as they were before. So one of the missions of the work program for 2021-2023 should be to revitalize those CACCI councils on various issues. And also we have added some more issues and subjects and some more councils. So we need to define a kind of a framework for them so that they can meet with their members for the time being, of course, on the virtual platform, and then afterwards, again, between the CACCI assemblies and conferences, so that they become more active and we can have more outcomes from those councils, and we can circulate the documents or any report they produce. And I think this is also a means which make the CACCI primary members to come together and to make a kind of synergy when having also meetings for the CACCI councils and not only for the CACCI offices.
Thank you, Pedram, for your comments and suggestions. In fact, as I had mentioned earlier, that it is my endeavor to get the vice presidents of CACCI more involved, more active, and to lead various initiatives of CACCI so that we can once again, especially during this COVID times, utilize our time to promote as well as inform our members of activities that we can do and activities that we're doing.
Okay. President Samir, may I comment?
Yes, Ambassador Yuko.
President Samir, can we share with you some of our experience at the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry? During the COVID situation, we actually were able to engage continuously with other chambers, not only in ASEAN, but as far as the European chambers as well. And this was arranged, basically, sometimes it's arranged by the embassies, sometimes it's us reaching out to particular chambers where we want to explore how to develop better trade, how to encourage more investments, and so on and so forth. So I suggest that the CACCI Secretariat might want to think about arranging Zoom meetings, either one-on-one for the chambers or even regionally, so that there is a continuous exchange of information. Also, I would like to mention that this coming November 17, 18, we will have in the Philippines what we call the Philippines Business Conference. Now, this is the biggest business activity in the Philippines, involving thousands and thousands of businesses. And this is conducted live and also by virtually and live. And so we have sent invitations to many chambers outside of the Philippines and also embassies, also important guests, and so on and so forth. So we expect 2,000 or 3,000 attendees to actually participate in this Philippine Business Conference. Now, I am aware that your CACCI, Mads, he knows about the Philippine Business Conference. So we can do something similar in a small way for CACCI. Okay, and in fact, I want to invite all of you so that you can see how in the middle of the pandemic, we are able to conduct business with other countries as well, Philippines and our other counterparts, without having to travel to them. So please mark the dates, November 17, 18, and we ask you to please join. Just look and see. Perhaps you will be able to see something that is useful for your country. I know that many people made the comment that, hey, this is great. I mean, why can you show us how you do this, and so on and so forth. So this is how we are able to continue our dialogue and our communication with the chambers that we are close with. So again, this is another suggestion, Samir, no, in terms of what CACCI can do to keep our organization engaged. That is what is important. We need to keep them engaged and involved in our affairs. Never mind the pandemic. We can do it. I assure you, it can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Yuko. I look forward to seeing you in the Philippines on the 17th and 18th, hopefully.
Okay.
Can I, Peter?
Samir, look, I think Pedram and Ambassador have made some very good points about the draft framework, and I'm just going to suggest that maybe you convene a group which might, I mean, I'm happy to be involved in it with Pedram and Ambassador if he wishes, to redraft this draft framework, because I think it really needs to be include the trade study and the promotion of that specifically. This is in pretty general terms, and I think we could do a better job of picking up the points that have been raised.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with Peter. I think that we can do a joint meeting between you, the Secretariat, if Ken would like to participate, Pedram and Ambassador Yuko, to see what of the framework.
Samir, Ken, I think that's pretty interesting. That would be a very direct discipline if in the near future we were to arrange a Zoom meeting with each of the members. Obviously to hammer home the importance of the study we've done, but also on the other range of issues that have just been talked through. Now, I realise that's a big discipline on you, Samir and Peter, but and I'd participate in those that I could. But I think it's that urgent right now to really nail this on the head that we should be programming those meetings. And I can't think of a better way to keep the members alive that all of a sudden have got their name in a major piece of international research.
Thank you, Ken. I agree with you on your suggestions. I think the suggestions made are very valid, especially from Pedram and Ambassador Rico and Peter. Can I suggest that if you can do a meeting, the first meeting on this early next week?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
So I'll ask the secretary to coordinate with all four of you on a date where we can meet, and sooner the better.
Yeah, and I think that obviously will involve Brian Clark and where possible Andy. So their participation can be short and brief, but there could be other chamber issues that the individual chambers wish to discuss. Yeah, good. Well, yeah, a great idea.
Well, we'll definitely will need Brian and Andy on that call to make a presentation, and we can invite other chambers that want to participate in this debate of the framework so that we can have a comprehensive comments and way forward.
And it would be very helpful in those Zoom meetings if their relevant Minister for Trade was involved.
I guess, but maybe let's take that as a second step. Ken, let's get the all of us aligned on one platform, and then the second Zoom call we could do involve the trade ministers.
I'm really looking at one-on-one with the individual chambers rather than getting them all online. I realise that's 25 Zoom meetings, but I think that's what it needs.
Okay, let's look at it, because 25 Zoom meetings to have everybody, including Andy and Brian, may be a challenge.
Of course, but I think that's where you're coming from too, isn't it, Peter?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think there's two things that need to happen. One is the draft framework needs to be developed, picking up the ideas that have been discussed tonight. But I think there is a separate process which is important and a priority for the organisation going forward, and that is to get the message of the trade study out to as many people as possible. So those Zoom meetings would be a really good idea as well.
Great, Peter. I agree with you, and I agree with Peter. I think that initially, let's get everybody on the board to get one Zoom meeting so that we can then chart out a plan of how to get the study out to each member and each trade minister. Can I now ask Mr. Amjad Rafiq, FBCCI Pakistan, to share the comments?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a point of clarification. Since the term has been extended by 1 year, that is till 2022, this framework for CACCI work program says 2021 to 2023. So can you clarify, or the Secretariat clarify, is it till 2022?
Yes, 2022.
That was, Mr. Rafiq, that was the typo, so it's 2022.
Yes.
Sir, thank you.
Can I declare the proposed 2021-2023 work program as approved? Thank you. Now request the chairman of the Budget Commission, Mr. Steve Hesse, to present the proposed CACCI budget for 2022.
Yes, Chairman. The CACCI Budget Commission was set to meet online approximately more than 2 hours ago. But we ran into technical problems which we could never solve in time. So what we did, we called our commission members individually to discuss with them on the phone. I'm now submitting the following recommendations to the council for endorsement. The highlight of the draft budget of the year 2022 are as follows. A total receipts of 2022 are expected to be $402,162 compared to $406,360 estimate for the whole of this year. The decline was due mainly to the non-allocation of study project contribution from members and low interest income, which offset the expected increases in membership fees and the contribution from CACCI. B, on the other hand, total disbursements from next year are estimated to amount to $488,266 compared to the $384,909 expected for 2021, due mainly to a higher allocation for travel expenses to attend more face-to-face meetings. A travel restriction are expected to be gradually lifted, as well as due to the cost of organizing the annual conference and related expenses. See, as a result, we expect to post a budget deficit of $86,103 by the end of 2022, compared with the surplus of $21,451 estimate for 2021. The Budget Commission also approved the budget allocated for the activities to help launch and promote the CACCI study on rebuilding the world trading system, which amount to a total of close to 5,000. These activities include, among others, the design and artwork for the publication of full CACCI study, the CACCI policy statement, and the 3-page summary report, as well as the holding of a 2-hour online studio webinar for the virtual launch of the study schedule on October 29th, which is coming up soon, 3 days later. The Budget Commission also reviewed the status of membership dues payment on primary members, affiliate members, and lifetime special members. We appreciate the efforts made by the many members to pay their membership fees for 2021, despite the extraordinary circumstance brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation. However, the Budget Commission also noted that there are still a number of members who have not paid their fees for 2 years or more. We urge those members to make an effort to make their accounts up to date and present their payment proposals to the Secretariat for consideration by the Budget Commission. Mr. Chairman, this is the report. This report is hereby submitted for the Budget Commission to the Council for consideration and endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now I'd like to request if there are any comments or inputs from the CACCI Council on the budget.
Yeah, sure, Samir. Like every country in the world, I couldn't think of a better time to be running a deficit and stimulating the work that CACCI's doing, particularly in relation to this study. As a result of that and the Zoom meetings we're talking about, I'm sure you'll find a way for a friendly reminder that it might be an idea to get up to date with their fees because of the work we're doing. It's part of the dialogue. I think as members see that CACCI's got a real role to play in multilateral trade negotiations, they'll come back on. It's just been a difficult time for business and for governments. And I think the deficit and the work that's being done is very effective and timely. So I'd support the budget for 22.
Thank you, Kiran. Can I declare the proposed 2022 budget as approved? I had a very interesting meeting with the Committee on the Young Entrepreneurs Group of Asia Pacific, YGAP, which was to how they are reactivating it. Now, can I invite Mr. Mangesh Lal Shrestha from Nepal to brief the Council on the reactivation of YGAP?
Mangesh?
Thank you, Mr. President, and greetings to the council members of CACCI as well. Hello to all my YGAP friends and to the Secretariat as well. First of all, on behalf of YGAP, we would like to thank you for having us during the council meeting as well. Today, YGAP was formed in 2004, and since then it has been performing a lot of activities. And today, what we will be doing is we will be carrying this legacy forward in terms of how the young entrepreneurs of the world, of Asia, is looking at the perspective and how we would like to take YGAP forward as well on a new structured format. So in 2004, Ms. Anna Marie was the founding president, chairperson of the YGAP, and she's from Philippines and was aimed to promote pro-enterprise spirit for young entrepreneurs. So the activities that was designed during that time was breakout session, Asia Pacific Young Entrepreneur Award, and newsletter as well as website as well. But now we've been working since 2016 in first started as a discussion in Taiwan, then in Turkey in 2018, and in 19 in Bangladesh as well. How can we revamp and restructure YGAP and put it forward? Because youth definitely are the future. And today, since we initiated our discussion from April, we have 14 member countries in our executive committee. So the core focus was developing the executive committee and the leaders within ourselves. We have 23 executive committee members representing 12 countries as of today. The only, and what we've done is we've followed the CACCI structure as well. And we've put it in a region of East Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Oceania, West Asia, and Central Asia. As you can see, each region is, there is a vice chair allotted who leads the region. The only reason that we don't have members from is Central Asia, and I would request CACCI members, and I've requested Secretariat as we are following up as well, to have members from there as well. Next slide. I'd like to now introduce the entire executive committee members. We had our inaugural meeting on April 14, 2021, and we are 23 of us, and we've had multiple meetings since April, at least 6 meetings, working from all the way from bylaws to structuring programs to integrating with CACCI, and also having a very flat democratic leadership as well. So can we go to the next slide, given the time frame? So as you can see, the outcome of all the meetings, first we really looked at our vision as young entrepreneurs. Where do we see ourselves as entrepreneurs and the future of Asia as well? So we definitely want to be an influential networking and resource sharing platform among the young entrepreneurs of Asia through constant learning, mentoring, advocacy, and collaboration. This is something that we envision as well. The mission is, how do we get that, is to form a community of young entrepreneurs. And we are working towards building a very strong community along with the member countries and non-member countries as well. Especially what we saw is around ASEAN, there are quite a few non-member countries, and we are looking at ways of integrating them maybe as an observer or something into our young entrepreneur group as well. And business leaders through partnership with each other, that is a key element, and with the government on policies and learning institutions and like-minded organizations to create a pro-enterprise environment. We also defined our core values by what we want to live by. So one is definitely entrepreneurial spirit that we would like to drive, promote, and keep it alive all the time. The second one is collective leadership, is something that we will work as one. The other one is social responsibility. Anything we do will have a social impact as well. That's what we want to focus on. There'll be a huge focus on advocacy in terms of internal as well as cross-border advocacy for business. And diversity and inclusivity is a key focus as well. And empowerment to the youth is something that we want to focus as well. So these are the core values that we have. And the tagline that we would like to restructure is igniting the entrepreneurial spirit, is something that we'd like to have as a tagline for YEGAP. And the theme for 2021-2023 is, given the COVID period, there's been a huge slack on business for everyone, even the spirits of entrepreneurship. So we would like to work towards an entrepreneurship-driven recovery. How can that happen is something that we'd like to look at. Next slide, please. For this, to achieve this, we've formed 6 committees. So now we are working on independently, and each committee is chaired by our executive committee member as well. We have learning and networking, which is chaired by Kulan from Mongolia. We have engagement, branding, and communication by Chamin from Philippines and Jay from Taiwan as co-chairs. And we have membership and partnership alliance chaired by Michael Lee from Korea. We have strategic planning, governance, and bylaws chaired by Romel from Philippines. And policy advocacy is chaired by Rishabh from India. And program and events is chaired by Richard Lin from Taiwan. So all of us are working very hard towards reviving and putting our effort towards achieving and activating and motivating youths as well, following definitely the footsteps and the boundaries of CACCI as well. Next slide. So some of the planned activities by the committee, which we will be starting by 2022 Jan, is presentation of awards to outstanding entrepreneurs and outstanding projects as well. So basically, one of the suggestions was, why don't we take this award to a country level? So this is something that we are discussing as well. Another one is business forums and dialogues. We want to initiate business forums and dialogues among the young entrepreneurs within the member countries and beyond as well. We are also talking about cross-continental partnership, especially with Europe and LATAM as well. So there are a few things that we are talking about within Asia and beyond as well. And another one that we are talking about is strengthening relationship with other regional international. That's what I just mentioned. As one of the core values is social impact. We want to focus on CSR project as well. Membership expansion is a huge focus. There's a huge membership bank among all the members of YEGAP, and we want to capitalize that and touch at least 50,000 young entrepreneurs in Asia. That's what we are targeting towards. Information exchange and engagement is a key focus, and we want to focus on digital platform to do that as well. Policy and advocacy efforts is again a focused area for us. Business matching opportunities is a huge focus for us to drive business growth among the members as well. We are also talking about online training programs, and study tours and monthly learning programs as well, bringing in experienced speakers and so on and so forth. The other one is we are talking about how can we promote startup innovation and investment program by bringing in the VCP environment into the ecosystem. So these are very high level strategy that we have, and we are putting it into execution. Next slide, Evan. Yep. Thank you so much, everyone, and for having YEGAP during this council meeting as well. And today, as we embark into new era of YEGAP with the newly formed executive committee, please allow me to, I would request you to open the floor for any questions that the council member may have for this.
Does anybody have any suggestions or viewpoints on what Mangesh has presented, or would like to suggest something that they could look at?
Just amazing.
Yes, Samir.
Yes, Pedram.
Well done.
All right. First of all, I'd like to express my happiness of reactivation of YEGAP and congratulate Mangesh and his colleagues as the executive committee of YEGAP. One thing, I have a few comments. One thing is that I think it is necessary that at least one person from each primary member chamber to be member of the executive committee of YEGAP. So I think, and I would like to request the CACCI Secretariat to recirculate this to the other chambers which still hasn't introduced a member for the executive committee of YEGAP in order to introduce one. The other suggestion is that I strongly propose that YEGAP forms a kind of advisory board or a council including all of the young entrepreneur winners of the recent years, so that also they can convene with each other and also with YEGAP, because they are remarkable persons in their country, and they have won the Young Entrepreneur Asia Pacific Young Entrepreneur Award in the past years. So they deserve still being connected with YEGAP and CACCI, and also I think they have many inputs to share with YEGAP and to help YEGAP boost its activities. The other thing which was missing, I didn't see any council or any task force on startups and innovation, although Mangesh, you had included it in your planned activities, but there was no platform or no assembly for startups and innovation. And you know that as conventional businessmen, we count on young entrepreneurs as the vehicles and the boosters of innovation through startups in our business environments and business communities. So I think to have a kind of a structure for startups and innovation would help CACCI and us much to get inputs from YEGAP. And one thing as a question was that you just named your planned activities for 2021-2023, but I didn't understand how you are going to carry them forward. So what kind of structure or platform will you be having for following them? How often does your council meet, and how you are going to do those functions and operations of YEGAP? In my opinion, young entrepreneurs in nature as being active and enthusiastic persons. So as a CACCI officer and vice president, I'd like to ask you and expect to have more inputs and activities rising from YEGAP throughout the coming year and hopefully afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedram. Pradeep?
Hello to everybody. First of all, thank you, Mr. President Samir, and congratulations to Mangesh for shouldering the responsibility of YAGAT chair. I'm sure during his time, something more can be happening, and we as the VC, the Vice President of CACCI, we will extend our full support. And a lot of activities have been worked out by Mangesh and his team. And I'm sure some differences can be visible. They have been closely in contact with me, and I have also suggested that the primary members, member countries, should also encourage the local youths to participate in these YOGAT conferences. And Nepal, last year, 2021, was a Nepal visit year. And we have been thinking about hosting a World Congress of the Youth within the CACCI member countries. And they have done a little bit of exercise. Should the situation improve and we are in a position to meet physically, that's fine. If not, virtually also, something could be done. And I will request Mangesh and of course our president and the CACCI secretariat to see the possibilities of Nepal hosting the World Nepalese, the CACCI Youth Congress in Nepal. And this has been done. We have been talking in these issues for quite a long time. And I also request CACCI Secretariat to allocate, certain budget for encouraging the youths to motivate them to organize such conferences. And should that physically not be possible, probably we can sponsor the speakers from our country, primary member countries, whom you think are the ones who could motivate the youths. So this is my suggestion, and I'm sure the teamwork that has been worked, I think, is pretty encouraging. And fortunately, my son has been in Nepal, the Young Entrepreneurs Forum president in Nepal. And coincidentally, everything is also been worked out with our Mangesh. So I will extend my full support on behalf of CACCI to make the things happening. Of course, we are living in a new normal, and I'm sure we have to live with it and move on. And I'm sure we as a team can make a difference. And tomorrow, the youth are the ones who's going to make the difference in our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep. Can I ask Peter for his comments?
Yes, thank you, Samir. And Mangesh, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very impressive, and we really need you in our organisation, and this work that you're doing is really powerful and forward-looking. And I really would like to talk, perhaps find a way in which we could talk with your group about the trade study, because in real terms, the trade study that we are actually doing at the moment is to try and make the trade system work for the world. And it's the generation that you're representing that will reap the benefits of a better trade system. And we really want to work with you to discuss that and see what input you would like to make into how that study is promoted and popularized in the community as it develops, because it's only just been launched, or it hasn't even been launched yet, but it's in its early stages. We had a good discussion with the Trade Minister in Australia today, and other trade ministers will need to be involved in this over time, and we need organisations like EGAP to support that sort of initiative that CACCI is leading on. So I'd be interested in your thoughts on that, but overall, forget that. I'd really want to congratulate you on doing what you've done.
Thank you, Peter, Pedram, and Pradeep. Mangesh, fantastic presentation. As we have spoken in our last meeting with you and the council members, that CACCI and JGAP should work more closely and more interaction. I think that that's the same comment coming out from Pedram, Pradeep, and Peter. So let's coordinate with you, me, and CACCI Secretariat, like we had discussed, to see how we can do more involvement of YEGAP into CACCI, because that will be a great strength.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that comment, and we look forward to that. Just to briefly respond to the comments and the questions as well, I'll just take a minute where Mr. Pedram did mention about having advisory board and existing winners. We are open to that, and we are very open to have a more inclusive outlook into it, and thank you for the suggestion. The other one is the council separately for startup and innovation. We want to do that, but we want to take a baby step so that it's sustainable. So there is an activity that is wholly focused on that, and we believe that there is a multi-spectrum approach towards having that startup ecosystem being developed. So we will keep you posted on that as well, and that is a huge focus in terms of our activity. The moving forward, carrying forward as a platform, operationally and others as well. A lot of things are covered in our bylaws, including our structure, our tenure, so that it's sustainable for next 25 years. That's what we think and we believe as well. So, so it is a very inclusive, very well structured, but happy to share that as well and get your feedback on that process as well. So it is a very well thought bylaws, very aligned with what CACCI has also, but on a smaller version. And to answer Mr. Pradeep, thank you so much for your support from the beginning as well. I really appreciate that. And with that, I think having a summit for young entrepreneurs in Nepal, definitely we will consider that. And we've been talking about it since Turkey as well. And our team, as me and my team will work on, will put that into our agenda and discuss it further. Given the situation of pandemic, with this, I really like to thank my team. Even being so remotely, we could not meet in person. It would have been a 2 days activity, but it took us about 4 months to get this done over a Zoom. And having 12 to 14 countries at one time has been a great experience, all the way from New Zealand to Turkey. It's been a great experience for me. And to Mr. Peter, thank you so much for your appreciation as well. And trade study, yes, we do want to be a big part of it because it affects us for a very long term. And that's why our policy and advocacy is a key area. Please advise and guide us on how we can be part of it. And Mr. President, first of all, thank you so much for your support overall and your invitation on working very closely. All our members, including me, are superly excited on making this happen and carrying the CACCI flag forward as well. I would like to thank the council members. And with this today, Mr. President, I would like to announce, if okay, about official facilitation of the YEGAP and the new YEGAP and the new executive committee, and look forward to your support and guidance from CACCI as well.
Congratulations, Mangesh, and the members of YGAP Executive Committee for the efforts making in YEGAP an active member of CACCI in promoting entrepreneurship in the region. I'd like to express the support of CACCI Council in all your activities going ahead, and would appreciate the certain comments that been made by Pradeep, Pedram, and Peter, whether we look at incorporating them as YEGAP takes a step forward.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will incorporate that as well.
Thank you. Look forward to working closely with you.
Last but not the least, Mr. President, I would request all the CACCI members, Secretariat is following up on having all the member countries in the executive committee. And I would request the Secretariat, and with permission of President and the council members, if the council members can support us on identifying and introducing young entrepreneurs from respective country where we have the gap, we will follow up and we will sell the idea. And we are confident as a team that we can really motivate people who are really passionate about doing great to Asia as well.
Yes, we will do that, Mangesh, to support you. And I'll ask Amador and Ernest to Secretary to coordinate with you on the way forward.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'd like to now call on the Secretariat to elaborate on the host of the venue of the 36th CACCI conference in 2022. Though we haven't reached a conclusion, maybe you can give a slight update. Ernest and Amador.
Well, I think, okay, I think I can summarise that, Samir, from the advisory board and the previous council meeting, that it's up to you and Peter McMullen to discuss whether it's going to be in Australia or India, and you'll let us know in the near future so we can give members advice. It will be governed a bit by COVID-19 movements, and you know, I think you've got to take that into consideration. So that's left up to you two as the executive to make a decision to let CACCI know, and we will immediately inform the CACCI members.
Sounds good. Peter, are you coming to India or you want me to come to Australia to discuss this?
I'm very happy to have you here, and come to Melbourne. Come to Melbourne anytime.
Look forward to talking about it. Let's finalize the venue in the next few days.
Thanks, righto.
Can I call on the Secretariat to elaborate on creation of the CACCI Planning Committee?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. A meeting of the CACCI Planning Committee usually convened at the start of the year to discuss preparation for the next CACCI conference. Among the items to be taken up by the committee are the final dates and venue of the conference, the theme and topics, lineup of possible speakers, and the proposed format and tentative program. The committee will also be requested to review the proposal of the CACCI work program and flesh out the details in areas where it is necessary. The Council is hereby requested to constitute the 2022 Planning Committee and give it the mandate to discuss preparation for the 36th CACCI Conference to be held in 2022 and flesh out the details for the 2022 CACCI work program. The Council is also requested to authorize the constituted Planning Committee to convene a meeting for this purpose in early 2022 at a venue and date to be agreed by its members in consultation with the host organization. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Lin, for your comments. And I think that we will hear back from all the council members if they have any suggestions of people who want to participate.
Yes.
And I'd like to ask Mr. Lin and the council members if there are any other matters they would like to take up.
Well, I would like to speak, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Rafiq.
We would like to offer our representation in the planning committee from Pakistan.
Thank you for your offer. We will take that into consideration as we make the committee a full-fledged committee. And we definitely include you in that.
Thank you.
Any other comments from any other member? Since there are no comments from all the members on this call, I'd like to say thank you for participating on the council meeting. Look forward to seeing you in person and counting on your support to promote and the study that we have just taken over, done with Andy on the trading system.